Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Echo Happiness Hub. This is the second workshop that I'll be running today about drawing. So we're going to be going through some very abstract drawing techniques and ways to make a picture. And we're really lucky we're being joined today by a scientist, Suzie Lust, who's going to tell us a little bit about her work as we draw as well. Hello, Suzie. Can we see you? We can see you. Yeah.
Hi.
Cool. And also Susie's going to be drawing along with us today. So you might be wondering what this is. So it's my kind of contraption so that you can just see my hand. So I'm going to flick over my camera now so that hopefully you can just see my hands drawing. Here we go. Cool. Okay. So like I said, pens and paper at the ready. And this workshop is part of the Echo Happiness Hub. And Echo is a charity supporting children and young people with congenital heart disease and their family. And Echo is there for families at every stage of their journey and provides practical information as well as opportunities to connect with other families. The Echo Happiness Hub is all about bringing fun and learning to families while they're at home due to the pandemic or while staying in hospital as their children undergo surgery, treatment or recovery. And these workshops are hosted in partnership with our friends at the Centre for Medical Engineering at King's College London. And later in the series, well, actually we are later in the series, we're being joined by some scientists like Suzie to discuss their work. And you can find out more about Echo at this website here, and when you're sharing your work you can use this hashtag, and big old pens and paper at the ready for our first activity. And this is me, if you want to connect with me and share your pictures as well. So first of all, what we're going to do is I'm going to set us up. We're going to do 2 drawing activities today, and I'm going to be drawing along with you, as is Suzie and anyone else that's watching today. I'd love you to get some pens and paper. We'll just need a black felt tip for this first one, and we're just going to be drawing along. And while we're joined by Suzie, maybe Suzie, as we're drawing, you could tell us a bit more about your work. And we're going to start off just drawing 5 kind of pebble shapes like this. So they haven't got to be perfect. We're just going to draw them a bit blobby like that. Any old kind of shape, maybe some larger ones. Let your hand go really loose like this. And as Susie's telling us a bit about her work, we're just going to kind of fill in these shapes with some combing lines. So you'll see what I'm saying as we chat. But Suzie, what do you do?
Hi. Yeah, so I'm a scientist. I work in a lab, and I'm trying to see at the moment whether we can decide who's going to end up developing heart conditions by looking at their blood flow. And particularly throughout our whole lives, our blood vessels constantly remodel to adapt to what we need. And I'm really doing a lot of research to try and understand a bit more how this process works.
Cool. Thanks, Suzie. So as you can see, we're just starting on kind of these mindful drawings. So we're just over these kind of 5 pebble shapes. We're just going to comb some lines. So the first one, we just start kind of narrower at the top and they get wider towards the bottom like this. So just very carefully just comb that line all the way down like that. And if you have any comments or want to share any questions, please do in the chat, and we'll try and answer any questions that come up, or if you want to share any thoughts, that would be great. We'd love to hear from you. And once we've combed our lines over like that, we're just going to go around the shape again and give it a bit of a bolder, darker outline like that. And it can go off different thicknesses in different parts around the circle. So I'm just shading mine in now, so it's a bit thicker over this way, and then it becomes thinner, and then it goes thicker at the bottom again. So we get these kind of odd little pebble shapes, and we're going to do 5 of these. The first one's like that, kind of like a seashell. I'm just making our lines nice and thick like that. And just really looking at your picture, it doesn't have to look exactly like mine. You can just work with whatever shape you've created as well, because your shapes may well be different to my ones. I'm just going to click my fingers to try and get that bit lighter. That's better. And now this next one, we're going to comb up, same again, but we're going to comb up from the bottom. We're just putting a curve to wherever the curve of our stone is, like that. Maybe this one's slightly slightly less, so it's kind of combed over like this from the bottom.
Are you doing even thicknesses, or are you?
That's a really good question. Yeah, I mean, I am actually, yeah, trying to keep the same distance between each line, but you can go whatever feels good for your shape that you've made. I'm not very strict. I think what's really nice about drawing is I'll just give you a few little parameters to work with, and then you can interpret it. You can do it however you like. This is just basis. I just find this sort of activity quite like a nice anchor to just get your hand in, get your hand moving. Doesn't have to look like anything in particular. Doesn't have to replicate anything. I think a lot of my drawing workshops, I'm not trying to draw, a vase of flowers or a piece of fruit, because then people become too worried and caught up with it not looking like the thing. So I'm really into just drawing patterns and making marks for the sake of drawing, really, and doodling. I always used to doodle on a bit of paper as I was on the phone to friends and stuff. So I'm really big fan of the doodle. So yeah, and I'm really into outlines as well, black outlines, and putting edges to things. And if you create a set of something, sometimes they can look quite nice. Suzie, why don't you flash up your picture? Let's see what you've created so far. Let's have a little nosy. Oh wow! Oh, I love that. Even bigger than mine. Mine have gone nice. Mine have gone quite small, but I love how you've done some nice chunky ones up there. Excellent, cool. So this one maybe we'll start off a bit differently. Maybe we'll do a straight line down the middle of this one, and then we're going to edge off either side. Maybe get your lines as close to those lines each other as you can, and go that bend is really gradual on this one. So it's starting off straight at the top and it's going down like that, and then it will start to flare out maybe this side, and you'll start to get kind of like a 3D-ish effect, as if the stone's got a bit of a curve or a bend in it like that. It goes right off the edge. Like that. And always just encourage you guys to draw in pen as well, because sometimes if you use a pencil, you're sort of too worried about what you might create, and you end up rubbing it out or thinking, oh, that's gone a bit wrong and that doesn't look right. But I think if you use pen, you're much more committed to it, and it doesn't matter actually if you make a few mistakes, and you just get a nice line that's not too laboured, that you're not too worried about if it's right or wrong. Because this is definitely just more about like the process of having a little doodle into these shapes rather than it is the outcome of what they look like, because you can do this again and again, you'll always get slightly different results. So that's my third one. Suzie, so how did you get into your research area originally?
So it's a good question. I didn't always know I wanted to do science. I thought I wanted to be a poet when I was small.
Quite a change of direction then.
Yeah, quite a lot. I've always loved being creative, and then I think when I was at school, I realised that actually science can be really creative as well. And
Yeah, right.
I ended up going to do engineering at university, and I just really enjoyed making things. And then eventually I got offered the opportunity to start working on engineering and medicine and doing projects where, even though I was still using my engineering skills, I was really focused on helping people with heart conditions and things like that. So that's really how I got into what I'm doing at the moment. Yeah.
Cool. So from a creative angle as well, that's interesting. Yeah. I guess you don't really often think of scientists as creatives, but actually you've got to be, haven't you, to come up with new ideas and new studies and things.
And also how to deal with all the problems that come up.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Problem solver.
Yeah.
Cool. So I'm reaching my fourth one now, but don't worry if you're a little bit behind or even a little bit ahead. Maybe you've gone ahead with yours. this one I'm going to start off kind of like a contour line, like you might see on a map. So we'll start off with kind of a line like this, and we'll go smaller together at the top, and we'll grow them a bit bigger as we go down. And you can work with, I've decided to go with the circle here because I've got sort of a little bit of a chicken nugget shape at the top there, but you might want to do yours on the side, or however your pebbles are drawn out. Don't feel like it's got to look exactly like mine, not by any stretch. It's nice to see what people create. So I'll do them nice and wide at the bottom, maybe one last one in there. And then again, I'm going to do that black thick outline around the bottom. Suzie, I bet you didn't think that as a scientist you'd be sitting here on a Tuesday afternoon drawing pebbles or things like this. I hope it's given you a nice break from the lab.
Yeah, it's really nice. It's a very relaxing shape to be drawing, I think.
I think it's nice if you can just keep your pen really loose and keep the lines curved. You're not worried too much about what's happening.
Yeah.
And then finally, I'll just move us on to the last little pebble we've got here. So we've got enough time for our next activity. But last one I'm going to start from, as if maybe this is a contour again, but we'll start from maybe the center by putting in another little pebble shape, and then just trace your line around it really as before. You can make a different shape, that whatever falls out, just let your line follow around like that with the edges, and keep pushing that around and tracing that outwards.
Mine's ended up quite circular, like if I was looking down a sort of blood vessel. It reminds me quite a lot of what we look at work, like images of blood vessels and things like that.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a bit more about that?
Yeah, so when blood goes around your body from your heart to the rest of the body, we know that it travels at different speeds, and it's really important that doctors and scientists look at these speeds, and we can actually image them and see how fast the blood is going at different parts in your body. And I think, yeah, if we look at this image here, what you're seeing on the left-hand side in the grey, these are kind of typical images that we get from scans, things like ultrasounds. And on the right-hand side, you can see, like, if we were to look straight down your blood vessel and just look at a cross-section, you can see that there are different colours, and these different colours give us an indication of how fast the blood is in those regions. So, like, for example, the red patches are usually where the blood is fastest, and the blue ones ends up being slower. So it just really reminded me of your pebbles, because you can see, like, if you were to colour in the pebble lines, you could have something quite similar.
And why is that? Why is the speed of that flow important?
It's important for a bunch of different reasons. The most obvious one is that you need it to get nutrients from your blood to your organs and to your muscles. But what I'm really interested in my research is that we know that the blood going over the cells that actually live inside your blood vessel wall, those forces that they feel from the blood give them an indication of what's going on in terms of the shape of your blood vessel, whether it's too narrow or too wide, and the cells actually respond to this and can remodel your blood vessels. So it's a really important cue for them to kind of keep your body healthy and everything pumping around as it should be.
Cool. Okay. I never even knew that about blood, actually. I wouldn't have even known that that was that important. We take so much for granted, don't we, when we don't know much about it?
Yeah, it's like one of those things that's always constantly there, and we always get taught at school that it's about delivering oxygen and nutrients, and of course that is what's really important, but there are lots of more detailed things that the blood flow is doing, and obviously the one that I'm interested in is much more about the shape of your blood vessels, but there's loads of things that your blood does. It's really cool. Your blood vessels are really adapt a lot, and they're just amazing structures.
And do you get blood vessels that are a bit more shaped, not perfect circles? Do you get them ever that they're a bit more squished like these ones, or are they normally a perfect circle?
Yeah, so I think that's the difference between real life and what you see in a science textbook. So everyone's blood vessels are different shapes, and that's completely natural and normal. Obviously, sometimes you get some variation that might be problematic, and that's where we might see symptoms in patients, for example. But on the whole, everybody's blood vessel looks completely different, and they're all overall sort of circular tube-ish shape. If you were to cut them up, they would look not perfect circles at all.
Yeah, that's interesting. Well, we've definitely done something that doesn't quite look out of a textbook here, and I hope you guys have all enjoyed doing your sort of combed pebble drawings. I really like these because it just reminds me of being on like a nice beach, and also just like sort of mountain ranges or contour lines. And you could do a bunch of these. I sometimes do an activity where I do sort of 16 of them on the page and try and get each different one a slightly different shape or odd line, and as a collection they just look really nice. So it's a nice starter activity for me, what I use with groups sometimes. Suzie, let's have a look at yours. Let's hold up your finished pebbles.
No
Wonderful. No pressure, but look at those, they're beautiful. I love that last one as well. What I love about them is they all just turn out so different. These are just the parameters, but everyone's looks different, and obviously you can color them in as well. And I'd love to see these shared on social. If you guys are watching at home, or if you're watching this under a recording, please do share your creations. We'd love to see, and put a hashtag Echo Happiness Hub. I'd love to see what they look like, and get some different colors in there, and they'll look really nice and luminous. But what I'll do, I'm going to move us on to our next activity for the second part of our workshop today. So get yourself a fresh sheet of paper, and this one will need a few different color felt tip pens. So if you've got some, line around yourself a few different colors for us, and I'll just get my fresh sheet set up here. Just try and get that a bit lighter. My camera seems to be not like, I'm right in front of a window today, but it's not very light. Anyway, hopefully we can see that. So we're going to start off on our fresh sheet of paper, and a bit like what you were saying actually before, Suzie, we're going for a rough circle shape with our next activity, but it hasn't got to be perfect. So imagine there's a dinner plate sitting on your paper, and you've got your paper up landscape way, and you're just going to go around in a circle with dots. So it can be any color, but I'm going to do mine in black so you guys can see them nice and clearly. And we're going to put a couple of fingers distance maybe between each one, and we're just going to work our way around in a circle like a big plate. But again, it doesn't have to be perfect, and if some are closer than others like these, that's absolutely fine. In fact, that'll probably make for a better picture. So just space them out roughly in a circle shape like this all the way around your page. Just putting some blobs like that in, and as you can see, mine's not a perfect circle either, but that's fine for what we're doing. So this is a nice activity that I've been doing with groups quite a bit, just to prove that we can make sort of a pattern out of nothing really. So we start off with circles all the way around our page like that, or a circle made up of dots. And then we need to create in the middle of this. Again, this is where it becomes, people will get a bit worried about where they're putting their dots, but just also put some dots in the center. So again, around the same distance between one finger and maybe two fingers apart, just fill up that circle now with some other dots like this, and sometimes they can be a bit closer together, sometimes maybe a bit further apart. But just give them some nice spacing, and look at your picture. Obviously, they doesn't have to map out mine exactly. We're just going for a bit of a shape of what we're working with. So if you just look at yours, and what might happen is when you get towards the edge of filling it up, you might see, oh, actually, there's a bit more space in there. Maybe I'll put another one in there. And you're probably thinking now, what on earth am I creating? But that's okay, because all will be revealed. So I'll just add in a couple more like that, and hit just here and there. So you've got something that looks like that. So it's looks like a bit of a web waiting to be connected. How's yours getting on, Suzie?
Yeah, it looks
We're looking
a bit like snow or something.
Oh yes, oh perfect. That looks awesome. So that's what we're going for. Yep, something like looks like that. So the next step is we'll take a few different colour pens for this one. So if you've got colour felt tips at home, this is where you might want to get some different colours out. And the idea is you're going to connect all of these dots, but we're not going to have lines that cross over each other. We're going to make each section into a triangle shape. So for example, I normally start at the top of my circle and work my way down so I don't get confused. So if I'm going to join them all up as triangles, I'll start from the top here in a nice bright pink like this, and then maybe I'll do this next triangle joins up like that, and we're just going to work our way down so none of the lines cross over each other, and it should work that they always make perfect triangles no matter where you've put your dots. Some of the triangles will be flatter than others, some of them will be skinnier than others. So I've got a skinny one coming up here, so if I join those two up I've got a really skinny one, but they should all join. So we're just connecting all the dots here so they're all kind of working together. Maybe Suzie, how could you tell us a bit about how the cells in your blood vessels work together? Is it anything like this?
Yeah, it kind of is actually. So your blood vessels are made up of tissue, and actually tissue is just a bunch of cells that have gotten together and basically hold hands and make tissue around them to create the structure that makes your blood vessels. And your cells are super amazing. They work really, really hard to look after you. And like I was saying before, if you can see them under the microscope here in this picture, these are a bunch of happy cells that are the cells that come from your blood vessels, and you can see they're all sprawling out to hold hands. And what they do when they have contact with each other is they make the tissue. And as I was saying before, like if they need to destroy the tissue and make it look a bit different and change the geometry, they can do that. And they just do the whole thing to make blood go around your body in a sort of healthy and easy way for your heart. And that's how they work together. So it's a bit like this picture. They kind of all hold hands and join up to make a bigger structure.
That's really nice. Yeah, again, something you just don't think of when you're up and about walking. And when you feel healthy, you never consider all the things that are going on inside your body, I guess.
Yeah, no, our bodies are amazing. It's such a cliche to say it, but there's so much going on and so many things that just happen without us having to do anything. And it's just amazing how responsive our body is.
Definitely. So I'm just working my way around now. I've just got 3 colours, 3 felt tip pens. I've chosen pink, orange and blue, and I'm just doing sort of trying to separate them up a bit so they all kind of talking to each other in slightly different ways, and just working my way down. But as you can see, they're all kind of forming triangles, and it ends up looking a bit like sort of like a geometric crystal or something, like a marble shape. So I'm always trying to connect them with straight lines as well, because that helps your triangles form. I'm kind of reaching out to the ones that are closest to them as well, so connecting that around and up like that. But again, I've done lots of these, just this same simple sort of pattern making technique with lots of different children and adults, and you always get really different results depending on how someone sort of attacked it as a activity. So you end up getting lots of different shapes, forms, and obviously if you did a really detailed one, you could have loads and loads of little dots and end up with tiny little triangles, and then colour it all in afterwards. But we'll just keep working our way around and putting in some straight lines. Suzie, do you do anything creative outside of science? What do you do anything to relax? Do you draw at all or make anything?
Yeah, I really like this kind of thing, drawing and painting and crafting, that kind of thing. It's so nice to come home at the end of the day and do something completely different. Being part of this workshop has been super fun. Something else that I can do in the evenings.
Yeah, definitely. I think we need a break from screens. Obviously, the irony is we're all doing this on a screen, but I think there's something about these sorts of workshops where actually you don't need to look at the screen too much. You can look at your own drawing as you're working on it, and at least get something tangible in the end as a result, not just looking at a screen. We at least end up with a nice picture at the end to share with us. We'd really love to see. Yeah, let us know how you're getting on in the chat how you're doing with these activities. And I'd definitely love to see what you've all created today. I'm just going to continue mine. Sometimes it can get a bit confusing when you look at it and you think, oh no, it won't make a triangle. But it normally always does. You've just got to find a dot closest. Somewhere to put it. So stretching out. But mostly I think it's just really important to play with pens and paper and just materials, really simple materials as well that you probably might have lying around, just some felt tip pens and some paper, and just see what you can create. Just this is obviously very different to the activity what we were doing before, was very loose and flowing, and this one's more maybe making a bit of a structure, but it depends which one you enjoy more, I guess. You could maybe make up an activity that's somewhere in between the two, and let us know what happens if you combine these two activities. You might make something even more pretty and spectacular than what we've done today. So although I'm aware of time, I've kind of zoomed us through this, but the idea is after you've done something like that and you get your finished result that looks a bit like a weird sort of marble shape, and then you might choose another 3 colours. And I always quite like to use highlighter pens because you can fill in really quickly with a highlighter, and you just go around and shade in. I'm just going to do mine real quick so you can see the sorts of results. Choose 3 or 4 colours and just colour in all your triangles, all these dots you've connected in between, and don't let each colour touch each other. So you should be able to do it with 3 or 4 colours and just not let 2 purple sides touch each other, for example, and then you'll get this really cool pattern start to emerge. And if I just do one more, and sometimes it's nice to leave some of the spaces white even on the top just to have a bit of a highlight. So I'll just quickly work that down for us so you can see. But obviously you can do yours in your own time, and then we'd love to see what you create. I'm sure yours will look better than mine in the time. Like, oh, I've just spotted that I haven't got a triangle over here. Sometimes that can happen. I've got a diamond, so I'll just divide that up like that, and then I'll have just that one in pink there. And then if you imagine, you can work them all the way down and do lots of different colours. Maybe choose some darker ones as you go towards one side. I can hear Suzie scribbling away to catch up. I am going a bit fast on this one, but we've just got a couple of minutes left, so you get the idea anyway. It's a sort of here's one I made earlier, but I'd love to see your completed geometric shape. So you can even colour in the outside, or maybe make the outside a nice thick line as well, like we did with the pebbles. But that's about all I've got time for today, unless Suzie, did you have any more questions or anything else you wanted to say today?
No, this has been really, really fun. I've really enjoyed myself.
Great. Thanks for joining us. It's been really nice for me to learn a little bit more about the blood and how all these things can connect up, and we can make kind of lots of similarities between very scientific things and very creative, arty things. So thanks for joining us today. I'm going to flip my camera back round so I can say a quick bye to you all, and thanks for joining us. I'm Jenny Leonard. This has been the second workshop that I've done. I've got one more art workshop with the Echo Happiness Hub on the agenda as well in a few weeks' time. But as for today, thanks for joining the Happiness Hub today. We'd love to see what you've made in today's session. So like I say, please do share it. We'd love to see it under the hashtag. And if you'd like to speak to someone at Echo or want to access available support, please visit their website for further details. Thanks for joining today. And this is the same time next Tuesday, and next Tuesday is going to be Anna, who's going to be doing her second workshop in sound, so very different from today. So again, lots of activities on the horizon. Thanks, Echo, for putting them all on and for having us today, and we'll see you soon. Bye, everyone. Thanks for joining. Cheers.